Good evening and welcome to the August 21st, 2023 meeting of the City of Tuscaloosa Planning and Zoning Commission. This meeting allows for alternative participation in order to accommodate all citizens. Any written comments sent to staff or forwarded to the commission directly. At this time, I'd like to introduce the staff. Jimbo Woodson, Deputy City Attorney. I don't see Mike Garner, he's our Civil Engineer. Zach Pons, Director of Planning. Emily Hayes, Associate Director of Planning. Mike Duncan, Technical Support Specialist. Tyler Smelly, Special Projects Coordinator. There are 9 members of the Planning Commission, all who are appointed by the mayor for staggered terms with the exception of the City Council representative who is appointed by the City Council. As the commission members introduce themselves and state their occupation, begin with Ms. Prince.
Dina Prince, I'm an attorney.
Stephen Rumsey, a business owner.
Eddie Pugh, retired.
Tim Harrison, general contractor.
Bill Wright, a business owner. There are sign-up sheets outside for public comment. 4 speakers are allowed to speak in favor of a petition, and 4 speakers are allowed to speak in opposition of a petition. All speakers will have a maximum of 5 minutes unless the commission votes to allow a longer time. Procedures: this commission will take up items in order of our final agenda. The commission will initially receive a presentation from the staff as to the details of the agenda item. Additionally, we may hear certain matters involving the same property, such as an annexation and a zoning matter concurrently, although we will take separate votes on each matter involving the same property. After the staff presentation, we'll then call upon the petitioner to present their case. The petitioner will have a maximum of 10 minutes unless the commission votes to allow a longer time. At the conclusion of the petitioner's remarks, we'll then call upon any party in order of sign-up or otherwise who desires to support the petition, and thereafter we'll call in order of sign-up or otherwise those who oppose the petition. When it's your turn for comment, please introduce yourself, stating your name and address to the commission to provide for the record, to provide your remarks to our body. Any written comments have been included into the record. After receiving the remarks of those who oppose the petition, the petitioner will have the opportunity to respond to the objections. Any rebuttal will be limited to 2 minutes unless the commission allows a longer time. If the petitioner presents any new information in response to the objections, we will allow those who oppose the opportunity to respond to the new information only. Any response will be limited to a 2-minute unless the commission allows a longer time. During the course of this presentation, you may be interrupted by any member of the commission for clarification or additional information. Such interruptions will not reduce your time limit. Once the commission members are satisfied they have received all relevant information, I will then close further discussion by the public, at which time the commission members will discuss the matter and then vote. After the vote, you are free to leave. These proceedings are video recorded and broadcast live. All in-person public comments should be made at the podium into the microphone. Comments made by phone or virtually are video recorded through the conferencing application. Please first state your name and address for the record. Jurisdiction: in all matters pertaining to subdivision regulations, approval of subdivisions within the city and its planning jurisdiction, and as to amendments, plan unit developments, and located outside the city limits, this commission serves as the final authority. As to matters pertaining to historic buffer zone construction, our decision is subject to appeal to the City Council. As to all remaining agenda matters, including original zonings, rezonings, planned unit developments within the city, and street vacations, this commission serves as a recommending body to the City Council. In that regard, our decisions are in the form of a recommendation to be presented to the City Council, and the City Council will make the final decision on those matters. Subdivision approvals require the affirmative vote of 6 members of the Planning Commission. All matters which are recommendations to the City Council require a majority vote for an affirmative recommendation. At this time, I would ask that any members of the Commission have any conflicts of interest as to any agenda matters before us tonight. If so, please state for the record. Having heard none, I would ask staff to confirm on the record that proper notice has been given to all parties in interest as required by law as to all matters before the commission tonight.
It has.
Thank you. All right, with that, we will begin with the approval of minutes. As to the Planning Commission zoning has received the synopsis of the July 23rd, 2023 meeting. I move that we dispense with a reading of the minutes of the same unless there are any deletions, additions, or corrections. Having heard none, minutes are approved. Okay, we have consent agenda tonight.
We've got one consent agenda item. We're going to just verify that we haven't had any comments. I don't think anyone is here to speak for or against. But we'll grab those sign-in sheets real quick. Is anyone here for or against this one? For? Well, anyone against? No? I guess y'all can go forward with this one.
All right. Commission, we have a consent agenda item S5123, the Denny resurvey of Oakwood. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, ayes have it.
All right, we had two cases withdrawn prior to notifications being sent. This is that Airport Road annexation and rezoning. And then going into unfinished business, this is the Lake Harris Lake Master Plan. So this was continued last month in order to allow for public comment. We have not received any public comment in that month-long process of waiting. And do we have anyone signed up for the Lake Harris Lake for public comment? So no public comment.
No public comment. Does the staff representative want to address this for anything?
Yeah, we're here if you have any questions. I mean, we kind of went through it pretty in-depth last month.
This was the presentation we heard last month, and we decided we'd wait 1 month to vote on the approval of this, and no one has made any modifications, changes, or points of concern for that plan. With that being said, we'll take would that be a voice vote, okay? What's in our, can we do you want a? Voice vote, sir. Okay. Commission would like to ask for approval for the Lake Harris Lake Master Plan. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, ayes have it.
All right, moving into the first preliminary plat that we have, it's S3623. This is Foster House, consisting of 2 residential lots on approximately 0.32 acres, located at 625 Queen City Avenue. This is Council District 4. This one was continued from last month's meeting. Here's the location of the property on the corner of Queen City Avenue and 7th Street. There's a house existing today on that property, and then a large kind of backyard, as well as a shed. They did go to the Historic Preservation Commission for approval to remove a piece of that shed, which was kind of what they were waiting for in order to bring it to you guys for this subdivision. So this is a 2-lot subdivision. One will have the existing home, and then lot 2 is the vacant piece. And you can see this here with no contours. And they are asking for 1 variance request, which is additional right-of-way dedication. Have any questions for staff?
Oh, wait to hear a presentation. Petitioner.
Kevin Hinkle with Montgomery & Hinkle Inc. Land Surveyors, representing the new owners. And as Zach said, they wish to subdivide the property basically to keep from having construction in that backyard area. They're adjoining landowners in Audubon Place.
Can you talk to us about what the plans are for Lot 2?
Currently, there are no plans. They're purchasing it, they're creating that to keep anybody from building on Lot 2. So if they were to sell Lot 1 in the house, the new owner couldn't buy the entire property and build some structure or accessory building next to their home.
So who's the owner of the property?
Fitz and next door owner on Lot 20 Audubon.
Oh, yeah.
So you're doing away with the line what you're saying?
Well,
Or you,
they're not doing away with the line, they're gonna jointly own the lot together.
Can staff bring up a aerial of this property where we can see, there we go.
So
All right.
today it's one lot and they're splitting it into two.
Okay.
So
Go
right
back.
now, whoever owns the lot that fronts Queen City owns that entire piece.
Correct, and the way
And
it's
then they're gonna
zoned,
sell the lot two, they're gonna sell it and own it as joint tenants or whatever with whoever lives in Audubon Place?
well, I guess it's an LLC, I think it has some name, like Graffits or combination of the two owners' names that will be owning it. And they're refurbishing the Foster House, which is a kind of a historic home. But the way it's currently zoned, they're worried that if it were sold outright, somebody owned the entire lot, they could build something there that would not be what they desire in their neighborhood. So they are kind of
who did you say,
protecting
who owns it now?
the Fitz Architects and adjoining landowner on Lot 20.
Is that the client, your client?
Can you show us lot
Where-
20?
Is she here? Is Kelly here? She can address it. Where is she?
She's out of town, and that owner has COVID.
Is out of town in what?
Kelly Fitz is out of town, and the lady right there where the X has just been placed, she has COVID. There's a reason she couldn't be here.
What is it zoned right now?
R3 or R4? I think it's R3.
Yeah, so this is R4, yep, R4 historic.
So you're gonna put a line and then it will be a buildable lot after you do that. Is that what you're saying?
Would it be buildable?
Will it be a?
Yeah, you can tell by the-
Is it a
the
conforming lot after you put that line there?
Correct.
My concern is, we looked at this at Chair Vice Chair, is what's the buildable area of Lot 2? I mean, it's minimal.
It is.
What is that size with the setbacks that's required?
I don't have that information per se with me. She knew that it was going to shrink down to that size.
So my concern here is, obviously, with it, where the location of it is and the district it is, that anything that could possibly be built there would be, unless it would be a non-conforming use. Because I can't imagine a building being built in that shape, that small, that would work within the confines of that neighborhood.
What were the dimensions, Tim? I missed.
I don't know.
I don't-
I looked at them roughly, and I would say, 15 on the end to
80 minus 45.
800, maybe 1,000 square feet, the best you could build,
Yeah.
right?
You'd be 35 foot wide at the 5 foot minimum building line that joins Lot 20.
Oh.
I mean, you can build there's some $500,000 houses
Hold
on
on
that
just a
are
second.
25.
You said
35.
they're doing that so nobody will build on it, and today nobody can, right? Because there already is a house,
No, it could be, you could build an accessory structure on it as
Right.
is.
right? But not a
But
house.
after, not a house.
So actually, you're splitting it up not for that reason, but, I mean, for the potential in the future maybe, or?
I think their desire is to not hold on to the foster house, but they don't want to sell the entire foster house and the entire lot so somebody could build whatever accessory structure attached to the foster house that would encumber their homes. Possibly.
The structure, though, would have to go in front of who?
Yeah, it would go to the HPC for approval for any structure, even if it was an accessory structure.
So it would have to meet their qualifications.
Yes, sir.
But I think as it sits, it wouldn't have the setback restrictions on it as the original property.
Yeah, if it
You
was
could
an,
build a much larger structure on it. With this done, you could not.
So the two owners currently own the foster,
Together as an LLC,
and then one of the LLC members is this lot 20.
correct? And the other member lives directly behind Lot
So
20.
they're all, y'all got this little piece of land that you're, lot 2, surrounded right now by this group. And
On one end.
why, I don't understand that if they're afraid of building something, why would they want to subdivide the lot?
Mr. Chairman, what if you just delayed it a month and let her come back in town and tell us herself?
I mean,
I'm assuming it's not an emergency. I mean, she knows her way up here. I mean, I'm sure she'd like to tell us. I mean, I just want to hear from her what she actually means.
I'm about to say, we hear a lot from the historic group, whether it be a TNT representative or a,
This is just an opportunity for a miscommunication.
yeah, I mean, this seems like we're missing a lot of the pieces of the puzzle here and a clarification.
If she says, look, it's a conforming lot, I want the value for it, I might want to build on it, then I'd like to hear that. If she says, I'm going to put this here so nobody will, then there's several ways we can do that.
I'm not sure if any of that was discussed in the historical meeting. I wasn't present for that, but I think Ms. Fitz was. So I don't really know what all they discussed in that meeting, but evidently the Historical Society agreed.
My concern based on the setback, go back to the other slide. Based on, number one, I want to know what the buildable area is before she comes back up, because if she is going to come back up, because my concern is what you could build in that narrow sliver of land that formed with the existing neighborhood. Zach, my question to you is, by moving this lot line and only doing demo to a lean-to and running the lot line on the shed, we're still creating a non-conforming. So why wouldn't the lot line move further over?
So before we can sign a final plat for this, they have to actually go through that demolition and to remove that portion of the shed in order to make it to make it conforming, essentially.
So the shed has got to go, I guess in looking at this, I'm thinking they're just going to move the part of the shed that's across the lot line. Okay, so they'd have to
Yeah.
move back beyond the 5.
That's right.
Tim,
it
why
is-
would it be non-conforming? You said it would be non-conforming.
I was assuming that they were going to leave the shed adjacent to the lot line, but he says that they would have to move it beyond that 5 foot. It looked like to me they were just removing the lean-to on the right-hand side of the lot line, but
And when the-
clarifying.
I'd love to hear, the vision for it. If there's a change in philosophy, in the district and the leadership, I'd love to hear that too.
I'm not opposed, I'd like to understand what could be built on
I'm
the
just
lot.
saying it isn't congruent with
I
previous
think they're trying to make
direction
it
from-
so that nothing can be built on Lot 2.
Then
Then why
do it?
Why do it? Yeah. You own lot 1, and why?
Well, because I think
Because
what they're saying
Yeah.
is, they're afraid if they leave it like it is as one lot
Right.
and sell the whole thing,
Right.
then the new owner could possibly, what do they have to have? Do they have to have a special exception for an exception?
Well, so they would have to go through the Historic Preservation Commission to build anything. And so Ms. Fitz and Ms. Griffin would, I think it's Griffin or Griffith, would be able to come to that meeting in opposition if they were in opposition to any structure there. Really, all that they could do would be to build an accessory structure. It would have to be 5 feet from the property lines. It'd have to conform to the HPC guidelines if it was to remain as one lot.
Without
But
the,
all that could
I
be
don't-
bigger. All that could be bigger at that
Why
point.
don't we delay
without
it?
the subdivision, they could build to
Correct.
within 5 foot of those lines
Correct.
instead of being offset.
Correct.
But I'd like to hear from the petitioners directly, because of Mr. Rumsey's comment, is we don't know, I'd like to hear what, there's a different mentality in thinking of the historic area, but also, you could say you're protecting your property, but who's saying you're not the one that wants to develop the property?
And who's saying that 20 years down the road, both of them are going to own this property adjacent to it? And then we've got a situation where somebody sold somebody a lot under the guise that you could build something on, and they come up here and they can't build anything. There's a lot of nuances with
Yeah,
this lot.
and it may be fine for someone to build on it, but I'd like to hear from the petitioner, because I don't think in 20 years that's been the attitude of either the, what do you call the historic, what's that group? Not the commission, the group, the downtown, the people that come up here and talk about those things. It's not the
Original
the,
city
commission.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, the neighborhood. I don't think they've ever come up here and advocated for a lot line
No.
to create an additional.
Not in this area.
But if that's a change in their guidance, I'd love to hear that, because she wears two hats in a way.
Yeah.
I'm sure nothing big is gonna happen in the next 30 days. Surely she'll be back.
I'm about to say, I think what you're hearing here is that you might want to ask for a continuance to ask the petitioner, owners, to at least come address this body with what they're, we don't know, you're representing them.
Right.
And we don't know where their intentions are, and I don't think this body's real comfortable without.
You can have us call for the vote.
Yeah, that's right, you can call.
I think, I think that their intentions are as stated, but I wouldn't want to hamstring them by having it voted down either.
We've had hundreds of people come up here and say their reason for doing X, they sell the property and the next owner can do whatever, right? So unless we're gonna put something on the deed, it has no bearing really what they say they might do.
Yeah. But, the beauty of that, it is in the historic district where it's not something that you just go out and get a building permit. You got to jump through a lot of hoops just to be able to construct there.
I mean,
But-
I'm not
I
trying to
understand.
begrudge them a lot that's probably worth $150,000, $200,000, because that's what's happening here.
Well, but this is obviously always a contentious area of town, and we get it from all angles. And I don't think I'm comfortable with making any decision without knowing exactly, I want to hear from the petitioner.
Okay.
I mean, I think.
I agree. I mean,
So,
Table it.
so you want to vote or you want to ask for continuance?
I'm asking for a table, I guess.
Okay. All right, commission, the petitioner's representative has asked for a continuance for S 3623. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Next up, we have a DROD proposal for you tonight, DROD 0523. This is Ginger Kodos petitions to demolish 3 units located along Lurleen B. Wallace Boulevard North at 2428 6th Street, Zone BC DROD in Council District 4. So here's the location. You guys might be more familiar with it as, Skip Bumhauer Photography in that area. This is the only piece that we're talking about. The brown roofed portion is going to remain, and then the black roof portion is what they're proposing to demo. So you can see here on this photo, it's everything to the left of that line is being proposed to be demolished. And it's 1,350 square foot, 2-story building that they wanted to demolish. The reason being that they can kind of speak more to this, is it's become deteriorated to the point where repairs are too costly. 3 existing units will remain. The overall facade, they have stated, will not change from its current state, and you can see that in the renderings. And then they are going to build a 4-foot masonry wall along where the demolished building portion is. So you can see that here, just to kind of cover that back area. So the existing building, and then that brick wall, and then this is kind of what that's going to look like to match the existing building.
Can you show a picture of the area behind the building, photo of that?
Yes, sir. Right here.
It's got a
That's
building
probably-
shadow, but it looks like it's unimproved. It's just dirt, rocks, gravel.
I believe it's gravel at this point. And they have stated that they don't plan to use it for parking. If they did, there would be some stipulations from the zoning ordinance. If you have 4 or more parking spaces, you do need to stripe them and use concrete or asphalt.
So that curb cut going behind it will still exist, though, right?
That will still exist, and the wall will not take
not.
that. Yeah, it won't enclose that.
Let's hear.
So there will still be access back there. That's right.
Hey, go back, please,
To the aerial?
to the, no, there. All right, so this is the curb cut you're talking about? Right
No,
here.
he's talking about on the, you talking about the backside.
yeah.
He was talking about,
Are you saying that last end of the building will be taken off?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
So everything to the left of that yellow line will be demolished.
So that's gotten disrepair, but this has it, is that what you're saying?
That's right, apparently, per the petitioner. I think there's a clear separation between those 2 buildings. And then I guess if you look on this photo here, you can see it's kind of gravel on that drive, so it's probably gravel in the back as well.
Go back to your arrows.
But you, yeah, but
Is this being pushed by somebody? Is the city on the?
No, so it's just the property owner. I believe they've owned it for a while now.
So they woke up one morning and said, I'm gonna spend some money tearing down a building?
They've provided a cost estimate in the packet that shows kind of, what it would cost to repair versus demo. And they're here to speak more on that if you had further questions.
Okay. Any more questions for staff? Petitioner.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Chris Centel with Centel Engineering. As Zach stated, the roof of the building is in disrepair. So we provided cost estimates. It was the intent to renovate the building, but it was become too costly. And Ms. Contes can answer any questions that you have. She inherited the building from family in 2019. So it's just, the building the roof is, I mean, you can see the structure. It's got extensive work to be done.
Was that an addition at some point?
It appears that it was a small addition, because they're single story, but it's one of those buildings that was built so long ago that single story made sense, and then it became 1.5 stories at one point. So I guess the invention of air conditioning.
Looks like you
Gave
have
it
two different roof
It's
lines.
definitely two different roofs. We had the roofer look at it, two different roofers actually. So
correct.
Yeah. What about obviously you heard the question or concerning the parking behind it, which it has access for parking behind it. And are y'all aware of what the city requirements are if that ever is used as parking?
we will have to do the parking lot repair or construction if we intended to be a parking lot, but it's not intentioned to be a parking lot now. And obviously, when when the city did Lurleen Wallace, they decided there was going to be a curb cut there. So, but that wasn't us.
So, Mr. Chairman, look, I promised I was gonna come up tonight, and I just wasn't gonna have much to say. I was gonna try to be quiet.
Well, you've already broke that.
So I'm just asking. So obviously, the code today does not allow as much square footage to be built on the footprint. So somebody that tears down part of their building is doing so knowing that just to put a roof on it to capture the square footage is actually gonna cost them a lot, unless they have a plan that we don't know about. If they do, I'd just love to hear it now rather than next month. You know, it's kind of like that. Like when the church said they just wanted to get all the zoning the same, the next month there was they wanted to build the tower. So, I mean, are you wanting to sell it to the next door neighbor? Do they need more parking? Is that coming to us next? Or are you really just really believe you need to tear down your building?
If I had more places to park,
Close to the microphone. We got
I'm sorry.
recorded.
If I had more places for tenants to park, originally my thought was to take those 3 units and renovate them. But I have nowhere to place those tenants for parking. I've got 5 spots back there for all of my tenants that are on the 6th Street side. They're great. But since Lurleen Wallace was reconstructed, I had 2 side parking places, but are now gone. So I just don't have anywhere to put them, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense to put, several hundred into the roof and the structure when I've got nothing to do. It's not going to show forth
You've
anything.
currently got 5 parks back there
I do.
in the back, and
It's just a gravel
you'll-
lot.
yeah,
It's
you'll-
been like that since 1935.
based on our requirements, you can maintain those parks, right? But what you're saying is you can't go back and add to the park, or go put gravel in there and park 8 cars back there.
That's correct, yeah.
Unless she comes back before you and with a parking plan.
Well,
Yes.
who would police that?
Well,
We don't care about that, do we, or do we?
from my standpoint, I don't, but I mean, I think from her standpoint, if she does go back and try to park a bunch of cars in there, then the city can say, hey, you told us this, we've got the right to do that.
So you can rent it better, I guess, if it has more parking, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not renting for parking.
No, I'm saying you can rent the building more, maybe for more or more money or to more tenants or whatever, if you have parks. Is that what? More
I
parking.
don't, I don't think so. The only thing that would, if I had additional, it would maybe give me three more spaces, then that would just allow for some overflow for the, current tenants, clients. There's a hair salon there, they would have a place for their, overflow to park if needed. I mean, I'm not constructing for additional parking. Will it happen? Probably.
But if you tear it down, you'll never get to build that footprint again, right? You know that.
Correct. I just don't, it doesn't make sense to me to do a reconstruction if I don't have a place for tenants to park to have a business.
How many square feet is it?
That particular end is right at 13, yeah.
So, what's the roof? Might want to buy it before you tear it down.
You can cut that deal after tonight. From our standpoint, there's conditions for her to demo it. If she wants to demo it, let her demo it.
Well,
I understand that we sometimes get misguided up here, but
Yeah.
she's a property owner. She wants to tear the thing down, let her tear it down.
I think, from my perspective, it'll be used for parking, rightfully so, because you got employees that need parking, and you got customers that want to, you got to have places for them to park. I guess the other concern, you got property being redeveloped behind you, that they're going to need parking as well. So I just want to see, if we're going to be having parking in these areas that are on the main thoroughfares of the city, that they need to be presentable, managed well, and kept up. And so I look at, I'm going like, I don't want to be down Learning Walls Boulevard and see a bunch of gravel parking lots. I think the property being developed next door to you, they've got some parking issues that they got to address.
or if you want to sell a sliver, y'all just
So,
tell
I
them.
mean, yeah, I mean,
If the neighbor wants to buy a sliver, y'all just tell us that's what you want to do.
that's kind of where I land. I mean, there'll be parking back there. That's fine, you should, but I just want to see it maintained and kept up to standards, not a bunch of,
Tearing the
gravel.
slab out.
Say
Are
again?
you taking the slab out also?
That's not determined yet. William Colburn's my contractor on it, so we were gonna get it out and then make that decision at the time.
Where's the slab on grade? Foot, 2 feet?
Can that be
So
residential?
obviously the slab won't be, if you keep the slab, it won't be seen off of Lurleen, obviously.
No, we're.
So we're talking about
building a light
behind
wall.
Wall will cover
The
it.
wall will cover that up, for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna build a matching light, a
Right.
headlight wall.
All right. So basically, if I have this, it says this structurally, the repairs is probably so bad to repair anything. I can understand it's probably cost you more to
Yeah.
repair this structure, even if you found a tenant, just to get your dollar back on the repairs is
Never
probably
get it
not,
back.
and never get it back. That makes sense.
It'd be hard for a tenant.
What's the roof cost per foot?
I mean, but it's more than just a roof. You're probably talking about.
I mean,
You got
1,300
The whole
feet.
support
We talking-
system.
Yeah,
Spend 100
but
grand?
Steven, you look at, it's not more than, it's more than just a roof system. You got the structural support, all the framing, all that stuff has a
It's
factor in
structural.
it.
I'm just
It's also
talking- I'm
structural
just talking
beam,
about,
a
if
structural
you keep it
brick.
in the dry, you keep the
So
square
when we
footage
take-
stable.
Oh,
when
I
we
got
repair
you.
the roof, you gotta have a support structure built underneath it.
Correct.
It's structural brick,
Correct.
so, and it's built in 1930s.
Even if you put a new roof on there, if the structure doesn't support it, then
Even the rubber roof?
I mean, it just
That-
depends on the
we-
structure.
We gave a price on the TPO.
Yeah.
When was the last time this was occupied?
I don't know.
So it's just been storage or?
Yes.
Something's going on there now, because there's always something on the side of the road for sale.
That would be a question for Skip.
No, never mind. Scratch that question.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Any more questions for petitioner? Okay, thank you. All right, commission, any comments or additional thoughts? If not, we will proceed with DROD 0523, demolition of 3 units along Lurleen Wallace Boulevard. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion?
Second.
Ms. Prince?
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion approved.
Eddie White is a good time.
All right, next up, we have our first companion case. So this is an annexation and a rezoning for Beacon Place. They're proposing to annex approximately 47.57 acres located at 4400 Beacon Place Parkway. And then they are petitioning to rezone from R1 to R4 when they do come into the city limits if approved. So here is that location off of Hargrove Road by Woodland Forest Elementary School. An existing apartment complex, and they would like to come into the city. So here's some photos of just the area and the apartment complexes as they exist today. They're want to annex into the city for access to city services. This is identified in framework as a primary expansion area, and there were no issues from the each individual department or division based off of what they're requesting to do, at least for the annexation. And then for the rezoning, again, the same thing. You can see this is the PJ and the PJ, but you've got R4 and R1 and RMF1 across the street, and they are petitioning to rezone to R4. And this is, again, to connect to city services. It does conform to framework. Multifamily residential is what the future land use character map identifies this as you can see on the map. And then these are the permitted uses within the R4 zoning district. You have any questions for me?
Which district?
Nope. Petitioner.
Good evening, Commission. Eric Hamner with TTL 3516 Greensboro, here representing IMS in Beacon Hill for this. Don't really have anything to add to the presentation, just take any questions you have.
Mr. Pugh, this was your district when this first came before us years ago.
Were they having trouble with the septic system, or?
Not at the moment, it's just, but eventually they will. I mean, that's kind of the thought here. It's a huge system, it's a high maintenance cost.
We just offered them to come into the city several years ago when they built it, and without getting into a whole lot of details, they didn't want to come into the city. They'd just build their own system.
No,
So I'm glad to see them come into the city.
yes, sir. I wasn't involved, I couldn't speak on what happened then.
Any other questions for petitioner? Mr. Harrison, anybody signed to speak for or
Nope,
against?
not on this one.
All right. We'll close. Anyone care to speak for or against this petition request in the public? All right, having heard none, we have two cases to address. First, we have an annexation request, AN 1223, the 47.57 acres located at 4400 Beacon Place Parkway. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it. Welcome to the city. Commission, we have before us Z 1523 Beacon Place. A request to be rezoned from R1 to R4. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Rumsey.
Jimbo,
Is that good? Is that good?
just a quick, before you start, what if we denied that at this point? This is just, I'm from a procedural standpoint.
You're making a recommendation on the annexation, so
No, the annexation we approved, I'm talking about the rezoning.
It's a recommendation as well.
again, it's just
And we would rezone before
the
that
most
annex.
restrictive is what it would come in as.
But we've never had anything pop up like this without anybody here.
No.
So that just means nobody knows about it, right? Okay, yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Yes, motion approved.
We need to make sure we advertise that good.
This next one is Z1623, but they are here to request to continue this to next month.
Mike Hicks, Herndon Hicks Associates, 2728 Lurleen Wallace Boulevard. After discussions and at the recommendation of the staff, the developer would like to continue this for 60 days, at which time we'll present a preliminary plat along with the rezoning petition.
Who is a developer?
What was that question, Mr. Rumsey?
Who is a developer?
I'm working with Mark Booth. He's not the owner, but he's the developer.
there are some people that did sign up. Before we take the vote, I'd like to at least let them speak and
Sure.
hear what their concerns and
Okay.
issues are, that maybe y'all can accommodate them and maybe address some of those they might have, so.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, first person signed up is Deborah Elliott.
Ms. Elliott, name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Deborah Elliott, and I live at 103 23rd Avenue Northeast. And here
Are
in
you,
Tuscaloosa.
are you adjacent to this property?
I don't know, I don't know enough about it, but I want to just express my concerns. And hopefully, over time, I will be able to support it. I've lived at where I live at for 40 years. And my primary residence is like the side of my home, and also the back of my home will be affected by the development. Like I said, I've met with the zoning commission. Some of the staff, I came up and met with some of the staff from the zoning commission, and I met with Kip Tyner, a city councilman, to understand just what it was all about. But at this point, I don't feel like I can come to any conclusions, but I do have 4 concerns about it. My first concern is that the proposed way that they're saying they want to come into the new rezoning, they're asking to come in through First Street Northeast. And anytime currently, should you enter onto First Street from Kicker Road, you will see that it is already a congested area. Houses line both sides of a narrow street. Most homes need more off-street parking, but there is none. And therefore, how cars are parked on both sides of the street. In fact, there is seldom a time while driving this stretch that you do not have to enter the opposite oncoming lane to continue to your destination. That's my first concern. That is already a congested area, and we're asking that they look at finding another way to enter into it. We're not objecting to building nice houses or anything like that. The second is pedestrian safety. This is somewhat related to the first, but it involves mainly the children who must walk in the street to sometimes something as simple as going to the bus stop. There is no way for them to get to the bus stop or other than walking in the street. Since there are no sidewalks, they are forced to walk in the street. Rezoning to allow for much heavier traffic will make walking a more dangerous task for them. My third concern is drainage. Although much better than several years ago, significant draining issues remain. Never is there a rainfall, not even a little rain, that debris does not come across my backyard, water pools on the side of my house, and debris goes into the street, that First Street Northeast entrance. I will say that the city has been excellent in terms of coming out as soon as we call them, they come out and clean it up. My last concern has to do with privacy and long-term community stability. I welcome progress, and I'm overjoyed to see a commitment to bring high-end housing to this area. However, I am concerned that the proposed townhouses are not the most suitable type of homes for this community of single-family, one-story homes. Building in the middle of an established community of homeowners who have raised multiple generations is somewhat unsettling. I know the homes would be pricier and high-end, and perhaps everyone would love to own one. However, for some of us, privacy as well as community stability is important. At this point, I only pray that they do not attract the transient population that townhomes are more likely to attract.
Thank you. Our next.
Mr. Chairman, next person, I may not get this right, looks like Javier Sandlow. No, did I even get close?
Name and address for the record.
Hi, Council. My name is Javier Sandoval. I live at 524th Avenue. It's the property across the train tracks right next to the lot. And like Deborah, who preceded me, yeah, I'm mostly concerned with the privacy. I bought my home a few years ago exactly because it was in a cozy nook. And I was rather surprised to hear that it's not going from an R2 to an R4, it's going from an R1 to an R4. And I was just mostly surprised that it's going to be townhouses, et cetera. I didn't know how, I'm curious, the square footage of the homes. The plans didn't really seem to have that. And I'm curious if they are going to be high-end homes or more lowerly priced. But those are my main concerns, just it going from a single home neighborhood to all of a sudden having these townhomes or maybe even apartments, et cetera. Thank you.
And just we asked you guys that came here to speak out of concern for where you live. We always encourage, we want you to have your voice heard. You made the effort to come here tonight. The developer and the petitioner requested for a continuance. And what we always at this point do is encourage the petitioner, the developers to reach out to you, or maybe when you all leave this room, y'all can kind of connect with each other. And they've, on the record, you've expressed concerns. Now, they have an opportunity to connect with you directly and hopefully address those for you, so you can hopefully come back and be in support of it, like I said earlier. So with that being said, we do encourage all parties to work together. We do have a continuance request for Z1623 by the petitioner. All those in favor of aye, saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. Continuance is granted.
All right. Next up, we have S5023. This is Snow Hinton Park. This is a reconfiguration of one lot on approximately 39.62 acres located at 1000 Hargrove Road East in Council District 6. Of course, y'all are familiar with where Snow Hinton Park is. This proposal, you can see on the northern side, there's an existing road that is actually part of Snow Hinton Park's property, and this subdivision is really just to dedicate that right-of-way to where it's not part of the property, it's not private, it's actually going to be public. So here's the plat with contours and without, and they're just asking for a variance from drainage study. That's all I've got.
Any questions for staff? That road work has already begun, hasn't it?
It has, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Petitioner.
Eric Hamner, TTL, 3516 Greensboro Avenue. Once again, take any questions. I'm sure y'all are pretty aware of this project.
Any questions for petitioner? Thank you. Anyone in the audience care to speak for or against this petition request? Having heard none. Commission, before us, we have S5023, the Snow Hinton Park, reconfiguration of the one lot there. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Prince?
Yes?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion approved.
Next up, we have S5223 Cottondale Baptist Church. This is a resurvey of lots 7 through 11 Spring Drive, consisting of 2 lots on approximately 1.81 acres, located at 2001 Church Street. This is not in the city limits. You can see the location there. This is the existing, so this is all one lot, or it's multiple lots today, but they are wanting to create 2 separate lots. So one with the church itself, and then there's a house on that lot too, that they're just gonna kind of parcel off. So it'll be a 2-lot subdivision here. And they are requesting 4 variances that you can see on the screen.
And the church owns all the property?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm not sure what their intentions are with the small house, but.
Right. Okay. All right, petitioner?
Kevin Hinkle with Montgomery and Hinkle, Inc., professional land surveyors, 203 Hargrove Road East, representing Cottondale Baptist Church. They wish to sell their parsonage and not their church parking lot, and they had to reconfigure the lot to meet health department requirements because it's on a septic system.
So all the property's still in the county though, right? So the house will be in the county?
That's correct.
I would assume if they sell, they might want to come and join the city at some point. You don't know that, though. That'd be up to the buyer, right? Any questions for a petitioner? It's pretty clear. Anyone in the audience care to speak for or against this petition request? Having heard none, Commissioner, before us, we have S 5223. Oh. Okay, got a motion. That was second.
Second.
Mr. Rumsey?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion approved.
Next up, we have an annexation request, AN 1323. This is annexing approximately 1.33 acres located at 15560 Kevin Cove. See the property here on the lake. And they are requesting to annex into the city limits for access to city schools.
Motion to approve.
Hang on.
You want me to
That's a time.
Yeah. All right,
We got
so
somebody who wants to speak.
We've never turned one down, have we?
No, we got somebody who wants to speak.
sorry, you go up 43 and it's off Tierce Patton, I believe, over the bridge.
Can I have the petitioner, please?
Yes.
Petitioner, hurry. Name and address for the record.
My name is Sean Brewer at 15567 Kevin Cove, and that's basically it. I'm relocating my family from California, and when I purchased this is what I was told in the process to do it. I also have a reason why we're coming out here. We have 2 kids at the University of Alabama right now, and so I have 2 other kids that are younger. So we fled that state. We're trying to be here, and we want to be in that school because it's like 18 minutes that way, 16 minutes that way and 18 minutes that way, and then you go another 5 minutes, I'm right here with my other babies. So I'm just trying to do what I was told before I purchased this home, and I said that they could, so I'm here.
Welcome to Alabama.
Welcome to the university.
Roll Tide, baby.
Welcome to the university.
Any questions for his petitioner?
It just happened to be, the man who wants to speak with this is the same petitioner, so he wants to prove himself, so sounds good.
We're good?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We gotta ask for a
sorry.
motion, all right? Or, Mr. Rumsey, you wanna?
Ramsey, you want to do that?
Motion.
Second.
All right, this is an annexation request. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, welcome to the city of Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Roll Tide.
All right, next up, we have 2 street vacations in the same area. So this VO2, this is vacating 30-foot right-of-way located between Thomas Street and Campus Drive West, directly south of 211 Thomas Street, Council District 4. So here's the property. You can see the public supermarket on campus is just to the south. And this is just that piece there. The university owns, I believe, both on either side. There's some utilities that would have to get moved, but nothing too major, it seems. No issues otherwise. And then I'll just go into this one too, because the representative is here for both. This is VO3. This is a 10-foot alleyway between Gray Street and Campus Drive West, directly north of 1190 University Boulevard, Council District 4. So this is right behind Publix, that little strip of land there. And seems to be no issues.
How you go through there fast?
And that's it for this one.
Any questions for staff?
Oh, I'm assuming
So,
the
Hold on.
adjacent owners are splitting this property.
hold on just a second.
Splitting
Hold
one
on.
piece,
Hey,
right?
hold-
And
hey,
the other
Tim.
piece is other piece all, show that little drawing like that
Yeah,
there.
yeah, where are we?
So who's just out of curiosity, the proposed valley?
So just south of that blue line is Publix.
Public.
Can you
On
pull,
campus.
Can you pull the aerial back?
I see.
So you're just vacating half of part of that. Okay,
On-
that's why they're.
Half on that
Okay.
one, the whole on the other one.
I can't,
All of this
can't,
one and
I
all of
can't,
the other.
can you
Yeah.
turn it in a way that we can tell where?
That's,
Yeah. Sorry.
That's the
That's as
second
good as
piece.
we can get.
That's
We
the
didn't get
piece
any
that they're
further out.
splitting right there, right? That's this piece right there that the property owners are splitting.
Yes, right. And
Other
then the
piece
other
are not
one,
splitting.
the university owns both
Owns the other,
sides.
right.
That's
So
right.
the university owns half of this and some private owner owns the other half.
Yes, sir.
All right, so that doesn't seem, I know that street pretty well.
So, yeah, for this one, let's just say, I probably went too fast. So this is Gray Street. You know, you got Hooligans just down there on the bottom left of your screen, or not Hooligans, sorry, Houndstooth. You go up Gray Street, and there's this strip that's not improved. It's a non-improved alley that they're just going to remove.
So that's the northern owner is Roar?
Yes, that's correct. And
Yeah,
southern
yeah,
order,
and the
southern
owner
is the university,
Which is public.
which is Publix. That's right. And then the other one, since I'm up here, this one is Gray Street as well. It's where Gray Street ends. So Campus Drive and Gray Street would connect here, but they don't.
I got it now.
All right.
Petitioner, I mean, probably stage your case for you, but come on up.
Kenny Herring with Thompson Engineering at 2900 H Street, here to represent the University of Alabama. And if we'll look at this one first. Basically, it's a 30-foot wide strip of property that is in right-of-way now. It doesn't connect to Campus Drive anyway because the university owns a little strip of land in there, so it wouldn't connect. And it's not really being used for anything, so they're just asking to vacate that 30-foot wide strip there. To be honest, I don't know if there's any planned use for it or not. There are some utilities we'll have to deal with.
So,
So like right now, there's a curb cut there, I guess, and is that some pavement?
how many square feet is that?
30-foot wide, he said, by what?
What's
160.
170 by 30 times 30?
No, it's at 4,500 plus, give or take.
How much is that? On the University of Alabama.
Well,
5,000 square feet, roughly.
is it, you said there's 18 has the overhead lines there? They always park a truck there or some kind of receiver, don't they, during football season?
To be honest, I have no idea.
They put some type of temporary
An AT&T.
booster or something.
There are
All
people.
right, so the market value of the land is 867,000.
How much?
867,000.
That's what
All right, so that's what land is going for in that area. It's going for 150 a foot. Okay. Or 100, actually, there's been parcels that sold up upwards of $10 million an acre. Y'all know. I put in 7.5. That's $170 a foot. I mean, I'm not after this parcel. This is a continuation of what we did downtown behind, whatever, you know what I'm talking about, Tim. We keep, we've got land. We can't pay our police enough, right? And we have land that's worth, okay, let's go to 500. We're just gonna say, okay, all right, that's fine. And I've got several of these adjoining me. I just don't want to hear about it when I come up here and petition, because we are giving away and have given away millions of dollars worth of property. And Jimbo,
how would you go about determining what the assessed
The
value
legislature
is?
dictates it's based
Oh, I
on
know
the,
that, but what I'm saying,
based
I
on
know
the
what the
assessed
statute
value
says.
rather than the fair market value, and it's assessed as a street, so.
But how do you go about assessing the value of a street or an alley?
It's all based on adjoining property.
Based on what a tax assessor assessed it at.
Well,
That's it.
Also, it's impacted by what's adjoining to it as well.
so it's 30 feet wide, and parking spaces are 22 feet deep. And you can 170 divided by 8.5, that's how many parking spaces you get. For every parking space you get another bedroom in a building, okay? That's one way you can go at it. So what's 170 divided by 8.5 feet?
All we're asking is to make a recommendation whether you annex it or not. The rest is the legislature, and we can only charge what we charge.
So you get 20 more beds, and land is going for about,
Well, who would instigate that? Would the city meet with, because I'm kind of like Stephen now. I mean, the city of Tuscaloosa is missing out on, I mean, I know we don't use it for anything anyway. It's not doing anything but keeping the world together there. But it seems unfair, and I'm not talking about the university, please don't get me wrong, but it seems unfair for an adjoining property owner to petition the
Relax,
city and get that much property for
We ain't gonna-
a very low price. I mean,
You could recommend to the council that they put it in the legislative package for next year for the legislature to consider it?
You take Philip Weaver and what's it called? What's that street on the back? Fourth. Okay, so we gave him an alley all the way from one end of the, okay? You know what land's going for downtown and on campus? Jeez. So, I mean, last thing you want to do is, decide to pick on Kathy Randall of all people, okay? I get that. So I'm just making a point. We ought to talk to the council about how many alleys do we have and what are they worth, particularly if there's a demolition and a new construction going on. We're just giving away millions of dollars. I mean,
Jimbo, you say legislation, would that be a statewide legislation, or would that be legislation?
It would be statewide.
So that'd be, it would be.
It's very hard to get that changed statewide.
all right, let me ask you this. If we didn't, and I'm not talking about this one, just in general, if we decided not to vacate and they offered us a certain amount of money for it, can we accept it rather than just this assessed value thing? If they said, we'll give you 200
This is the
grand.
process at which we sell the street. We have to vacate it, so that there's no way around that process.
But we can't sell it to them if they offer?
If the university came to us and said, hey, we want to put this AT&T tower out there, we got to buy it from the city first. We couldn't sell it to them, we'd have to.
The fact that it's a street dictates the process of the vacation.
Right.
And that's why we can only sell it for what we sell it for, so.
Well, let's vacate it
We've-
and keep it.
I think we've been through this a few times.
100-year land lease.
Under what?
What about a 100-year land lease? We don't sell it to them, we lease it to them.
Yeah, well, there is no way around this process right now. This is the only way for them to use that property.
All right, so there's several on my part. I'm coming up here, I'm coming up quick.
I agree with you.
They're all over the place. And the density drives the value. In the box, it's going for 10 million an acre. And this is 5,000 feet.
If the university don't have plans for it, why do we even want to vacate it right now until we work on changing the law? They just said
I
that.
believe there's a pending project for this.
What are they doing?
I'm not sure. Mr. Cooper is here. I don't think you
Well,
don't have any plans for
There
it
were-
at the moment.
there was a strip that was 10 feet wide adjoining them, between me and them, and it wasn't, not without value, I promise you.
There's nothing we can really do about that tonight.
I know,
Let's-
that's gonna be a political will question. That's their.
It's not tonight, but it's,
Yeah, I know. Hey, this body's been on the record many times about this issue, and all we can do is put it on the record, and those elected officials gotta make the determination they wanna fight. It's gotta be a statewide thing, like you said, so, I mean,
Jimbo, sure, we can work around that. I mean, we can't, you're saying we have to pass legislation so we can sell our,
Can you voice our
No,
concerns
surprisingly.
to the council?
he might need it.
I'll be glad to pass it along. I think it'd be more meaningful if you would communicate either by resolution or you can send them an email or however you want to do
well,
it.
that's a resolution we ought to talk with staff about at a later time. I mean, we can't make a resolution right now anyway. It can't have any teeth, it needs to be drawn up by.
It'd just be a recommendation to the council.
Recommendation, yeah, sure. If I want to put that together, let's recommend it. Where it goes, I don't know.
it's certainly worth at least a meeting between the chair and co-chair.
Yeah, I think we can address that next month's chair, vice chair. I want to talk about it before that so we can put it on the agenda. Fair? Everybody good with that? Commission, body?
Yeah, sounds good.
That's all we can do. Might be a futile effort, but at least we'll do it.
Yeah.
All right, we still got two vacation requests here we got to address. First one is vacation request D0223. I have a motion and a second.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Rumsey?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion approved. Vacation request of V0323. Have a motion and a second.
Motion?
Second.
Ms. Prince?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
No.
Yes.
Yes. Wow.
you messed up. You have to have 6, don't you? You gotta have 6.
Just a majority, it's not a subdivision, just
Council votes.
recommendation, so
Goes to council.
Well, who presents that? What staff member presents at council?
usually that's,
Engineering.
yeah, engineering and is gonna present it to the
Who will that
council.
be? We know, I mean, you say, is that Mike? Is that you?
That'd be me.
You, lucky you. Well, I think you ought to at least say, we've had this conversation multiple times, and there'll be pending resolution coming their way, but it is something they need to get on the radar. Fair?
And I bet other municipalities would get their legislative.
So if the city needed 30 feet from UA,
They're losing money.
you think they had a 30-foot strip and we need it, you think they'd give it to us?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so next up, we have other business. This is subdivision regulation updates, some amendments. A lot of them are simple things like definitions, Director of Transportation / city engineer doesn't exist, things like that, just to clean it up.
They probably would.
Yeah, you can go ahead and look. So townhouse on individual lots, adding that city engineer or his or her authorized representative, because again, Director of Transportation doesn't exist. The engineering division doesn't exist, things like that we're just cleaning up. If we keep going, section 6.2, again, Community Planning and Development Department doesn't exist, so planning division, just little things like that. Requiring a site plan to accompany pre-conference meetings, pre-design conference meetings, because we've kind of had some issues with that of people not really submitting what we need in order to get them accurate, or an accurate review for a subdivision. Final plat procedures, taking off paper copy requirements, we're really going all digital. And then this is kind of where the meat of the amendments are. So our preliminary plat requirements we essentially ask for more than we are required to ask for preliminary plats for the most part. And they provide more than they really need, like the name and plat book of all adjoining subdivisions, contour elevations labeled sufficiently, where sidewalks are, intersections of or radii for street geometry, things of that nature that proposed front, rear, and side yard setbacks. For a preliminary plat, we didn't require it, but for a final plat, we do. How do we know if it conforms to kind of what the rezoning might be along with the subdivision or something like that? So this is really just to kind of mimic what our final plat requirements are to make it a cleaner process for you guys and for us and for the applicants. And then this is just kind of further going into that. And then finally, the appendices we're just getting rid of. These are just old, like the initial PUD preliminary plat checklist, things like that we can't change if you guys don't approve them. And so to do that in-house, just remove the appendices and allow us to dictate what our applications look like. And that's all we've got. We're just kind of discussing them at this point, allowing for public comment if there is any, and then next month we can vote if y'all choose fit. Did you want to speak?
Sure. All right. Thank you very much, staff, commission. This meeting is adjourned.
Okay.